Welcome to the Turbo Branding Show, where we help you leverage your brand to ignite growth faster, easier, and more successfully. You'll discover insightful conversations from powerful guests, founders, CEOs, and advisors of thriving businesses who are all going to come on and share stories of how they have built their brand to inspire you to work on yours. I'm your host, Sue Kirchner, and today is exciting because we're taking the Turbo Branding Show on the road. And I'm here talking with Catherine and Christopher Tipper.
Howdy.
Yeah.
We have to take care of the important stuff first.
We have to take care of the important
branding
stuff.
right
This is part of the branding. It's a conversation with bourbon.
Yes.
The good brown stuff. So let's take a sip. Excellent. Thank you. So
You're welcome.
now that that's out of the way, let us delve into learning how to turbocharge your brand. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me into your studio here. Yeah.
That's the first. It's really fun to have guests.
Excellent.
It really is. We like them virtually, but better in person.
No, and I love it. And this is, you guys have been doing these shows for a long time, both your video show and your podcast. I'm pretty new at this, so I'm here to learn from you, not only about branding, but just also how this all works. And most of my shows to date have been on Zoom, so I love being live and in the same room with people.
Yeah.
It's just a different energy. So I am excited to get into this. So first of all, let me ask you both to introduce yourselves. Tell me who you are, what your business does, and maybe a little bit of your origin story, why you started.
We've got infinite storage capacity, right? Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm Catherine Tipper, one half of the 4-1 couple, and I'll let you explain what we actually do, but I can explain what I do.
I'm the Christopher Tipper. I'm the founder of Hunter Benefits Consulting Group, and we are in the industry that's referred to as TPAs, third-party administrators. Unfortunately, that doesn't narrow it down very much. We are compliance consultants. We're trying to get everybody to refer to us as an ERISA compliance consultant, but apparently TPA is a lot easier. So our primary role in life is to keep people out of trouble with the IRS and the Department of Labor and the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation. In other words, we do all the boring stuff so that people can retire securely. All right. Origin story, back to the beginning of time, is January 1990. I was unemployed just after Christmas, and I desperately needed a job, and I convinced somebody that this was my life's calling, even though I had no idea what it was. And
I love it. Fake it till you make it.
Absolutely. And then started Hunter Benefits. I felt it was finally the right time. I'd thought for years about starting my own company, but it was always from a viewpoint of panic, fear, and desperation, which I did not think was a really good idea to start a company. Mm-hmm. And then I was in a happy situation, and I still wanted to do it. So Hunter Benefits was born in the summer of 1999, and we're here 25 years later.
Exciting.
Catherine's been with us 20 years.
Okay.
But always in the background.
Always
in the background. There was always a chair for me at Hunter Benefits. Even before I officially signed on.
Exactly. Yeah. This is my desk. I may or may not be using it.
Always going to be here.
Yes.
So, obviously we've been talking about this for a long time in our relationship, about the business and starting it and being together. But what I have more of a business background, meaning I had worked at Starbucks for a while and had P&L responsibilities and hiring and firing, and it became really apparent at a certain point, if we were going to grow, that he needed my management experience.
Okay.
So, and we've actually discussed even recently how it's actually nice to have a partner in your business, meaning people who don't have a partner don't have things to bounce off each other. Right. If you're really committed partners, you have to tell each other the truth and not let things slide.
Right.
And that's not easy, but that's actually what's making it work, both for the company and us as a couple. And so for a long time, I'd say we were kind of a traditional TPA, meaning, doing work like how everybody else did. Yeah, but now actually doing video is moving the branding to a different level. We always were a little unique in our branding, meaning We have that horse, which is a hunter jumper.
Okay.
We have confirmed that it's a hunter jumper.
Okay.
And part of it was to look power, wealth without it being a static lighthouse.
Movement, strength.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because most retirement plans, like they'll put a lighthouse with two old people on a beach.
Right.
And that's supposed to actually make you excited.
And I just want to walk into the water.
I just want to buy a lighthouse.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, there's that too, yeah.
So there, how to be memorable within your field without being bizarre. And a horse leaping over something to us showed energy, movement. Small percentage of people really get excited as a horse and have a discussion about horses.
Right.
But it does help people remember we're hunter. It looks different.
Right.
So yeah, the background of business, joining business together, and then now being relevant in 2024.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let me ask you this then, since we're here. We're going to talk about branding. We're going to talk about what is the role of branding within your industry. But first, let me ask you, what is your brand? What is the promise that you make to your clients?
I was told you were going to tell us. I mean, we're supposed to know. We were supposed to know it. I've never thought of the brand as what we're promising, what we're going to do for something. It may not be the most obvious first answer, but part of our brand is we answer the phone and talk to people on the phone. We have, we can be found on the phone. All right. We get a lot of clients because they can't get in touch with their people. They don't know who their people are. There are some competitors out there that are wholly online. There are no people.
Right.
All right. And I never thought that just answering the phone would be a unique value proposition, but it appears to be.
It is, yeah.
We take seriously that we don't have any. So one of the founding, I think this might be a better way to put it in terms of branding.
Okay.
Because I realized I don't know if it's before I started the company 25 years ago or as I was forming the company, but what I realized is we are not going to ever have any clients who woke up in the morning trying to say, wow, I wonder how I can worry about my 401k plan more today. All right. We are here to help those people as best we can, as much as the law allows.
Yeah.
And I guess that's our brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would even drill down a little bit more in thinking maybe it's a happy accident that it's called hunter. But some of that is we are curious. We want to figure things out. We want to solve problems. We're not just giving you how TPAs did it 20 years ago. We look at using technology. It's easy to think that a 401k plan is in a box. All of them are identical because it's a product. But really,
there's a set of rules, and we're all following the same set of rules.
Right.
We are, but knowing how to put them together and make them fit a company and the problems that happen within a company is a little bit, not even a little bit, it's a skill. And so the idea of we're hunting for the solutions, we're hunting to make things better for you.
Right.
I would like to say that there's an active kind of intellectual side to Hunter Benefits, not just phoning it in every day, but going out there and finding solutions.
Absolutely.
So, I love that. And just from the outsider looking in, I would say one of the reasons why I wanted to come and talk to you is because I love, as part of your brand, I think you have a commitment to education, but keeping it real, right? Yeah. Meaning you can have some very complex concepts and ideas that you need to share with your customers, but you make it so accessible. So I love that about your brand, but then I also love the fun part, because that's not something you equate with companies in this market or in this space.
You're either going to laugh or cry. We would prefer laugh and drink.
But you are right to think that people think to be good at something, you have to be serious. And yes, we're serious in it being right, but it is part of just this is our life. So having some fun with it, thinking outside the box a little bit, that's what keeps us in it. Right. So that is part of when you go, what's the brand that's Hunter and what's the brand that's Catherine and Christopher Tipper? That's where we kind of intersect a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, because I was going to ask you that as well, is which brand are you promoting the most, right? Because you do have Hunter Benefits Consulting Group. You do have the Tippers,
Right.
your personality and everything. And now you've thrown in this 4-0 couple kind of sub-brand here as well. So I guess my question is, I see how they all work together, but is that conscious? Is that luck? What do you think? Is that evolved over time?
I think I'm answering the question. Okay. When during the 3 summers during college, I was lucky enough to work with, to live with the owners and work at a company in Bavaria. All right. And it was they were the number 1 in their field in Europe and probably number 2 or 3 internationally. Okay. And I got to stay with the owner's family, and I meant lunch with them, and lunch was a very specific time. Everybody went home for lunch, right? And the person who owned and ran the company, work time, it was Jekyll and Hyde. You didn't talk to him. It was hair that, Mr. this, Mr. that, and all right. And afterwards, we're getting drunk together, on the evenings and weekends. He was a completely different person. And I thought that's what I was supposed to be. And I can do that for about a nanosecond a day. It's usually gone by 8:32 Monday morning. So I've never been able to separate the work Christopher personality from the home Christopher personality. Like I was raised, every business person I knew was supposed to be like that. So, but the thing is, in order to create a success, you're actually bringing up a problem or a situation we need to overcome, because it's not called Tipper and Associates because I do want it to continue after we're not working here full time.
Right.
So, but how do we have the fun brand of Hunter Benefits and Christopher Tipper continue on when we're not here every day?
Right.
So I don't know that I answered your question, but those are the things that we worry about and think about. No,
and those are great things to worry and think about, because you're right. It's one of those things where I talk to a lot of my clients and they'll say the same thing. Am I the brand? Is the company the brand? Well, when you're starting a company, just naturally, it takes on the core values, the characteristics of the founder. It just does, right? Because you are the face. You're the one who's out doing business development. You're the one who's inspiring your people, hiring, all that kind of stuff. It takes that on. But then you'll reach a tipping point, where you kind of say, all right, it's not me anymore, right? Or maybe you get to the point where you're like, do you want to sell the business? And if you want to sell the business, I don't necessarily want to sell myself with it. I don't want to go and have to be there for 5 years working for somebody else now because I sold it. So that's when you start to look at the characteristics of the company and you start to weave them into your messaging, into the way you hire people. If you can identify what those characteristics are, those are the people we hire and bring in. We constantly communicate that internally so that people know that. And then even with your marketing or, can someone pick up the mantle of your video show or things like that after you're gone? Or
I think that part's going to be harder.
Yeah, that might be a little harder. But you could still have people. Fun can mean different things to different people, right? And so you could still have fun be a core characteristic of the brand, but maybe it just manifests itself in a different way after you're gone.
So I heard a statistic yesterday, and I know what you can do with statistics, but supposedly, and I was not able to answer. I was not able to ask the source and the actual market they were looking at, but supposedly now there's been a tipping point in that more than 50% of B2B decisions are being made by millennials. It's like supposedly 55%.
Right.
And we've always tried to, even though I'm most definitely a boomer, happy to be a boomer, we know we can't always sell to the boomers. And I'm wanting to make sure that we can continue past that and make sure that we're as digital as possible, but understand when people want paper and things like that. So.
Yeah. No, I think embracing technology is something that differentiates you from other firms. Like you said, you're producing your content in a medium that audience consumes.
Right.
So,
and part of it is in our industry, the really big names, you'll think Fidelity, and you can think of the Green Stripe and all different things. it's hard for us to break through that. So we need to do it a different way. And so that's part of what you see here is we're doing it a different way to just see if we can break through. And then part of it also, when you say, what was the plan? I mean, the plan is we do a little bit of ready, aim, not ready, aim, fire, but ready, fire, aim. And part of it is like learning, like, do you actually feel comfortable talking in front of a video camera?
Right.
Not in the beginning. Well, do you have a list of questions and how you should go through? Not really sure of what you should say. It's very interesting, especially doing YouTube, of just seeing what people respond to, what people watch. And one of the things I'm really proud of is actually the questions we usually get are actually real questions that show they viewed it.
That they
do you know? I mean, I didn't think anybody would actually watch the whole video.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you know, or did we discuss what the impetus was for the On the Couch video series? I mean, that was March of 2020 when we're like, okay, we're not going to go see anybody anymore. All right. How do we still communicate with people? And the first ones were, okay. And I know so many people. But
the beauty of it is nobody watches them, so nobody saw them.
Right.
You made your mistakes in the dark.
Right. Single digits.
Right.
But we did them, and we tried. And I remember it was like 2 years ago, we had a video, was it like 88 views? And I asked like 15 people, come on, I got to cross 100. You don't actually have to watch it. Just turn it on YouTube.
Just turn it on. Right.
Okay. And now we've got some where they're in the biggest one is 10,000 or something like that?
It's almost 10,000.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Is that the one with... Is that one of me losing my mind, or is
it is one of the reaction ones about? Yeah. It is.
The ones where I'm losing my mind and trying to not have a stroke are the ones that have the highest view count. So.
Right. Yeah. So explain a little bit more about the show and what you're covering, what topics you're covering, and all that, and the format of the bourbon. And I know you have another studio for that. And then why did you decide to start this second kind of show, basically? Is it a different audience, or what are you trying to accomplish with that?
So at the beginning, it was just, what are we going to do? Let's start trying stuff. Let's figure out how to have a conversation. And it was all very typical TPA. Okay. We are going to tell you what you need to know, whether you want to know it or not. Yep. Okay. We were doing stuff that was very compliance oriented. We then eventually added on this very serious Washington update, and then once a month we started doing these long white paper things, which might actually have negative view counts. Okay, if that's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We were trying all these things, and it was kind of like we were getting better. And the reason for this is very accidental. As a joke, whenever anybody started to show up here, because we moved into the office in 2020, I would always, regardless of what time of day it was, hey, would you like something to drink? Do you want a bourbon? Do you want whiskey? Do you want wine? Whatever. And everybody always said no until sometime in 2019, I think it was, somebody from a payroll company finally said yeah. So we actually had to open the bottle of bourbon, and then something triggered with that, like, okay, we need to and he saw a video and he said we need to drink bourbon during the videos. It was the same guy, and that was early on.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into when we got Zach, he's like, you're actually supposed to do research and see what people want to watch and kind of respond to that. Oh, we're not supposed to just talk about what we want. We're supposed to talk about what they want to see.
Yeah.
So,
but I'd like to add to that is, so you think that what you're supposed to do is just straight up content like the white paper. It's just people are not looking for Hunter Benefits to do a white paper on things. They just really aren't. They're going to go to ASPA or one of the big law groups or something and then actually most people don't even want to read a white paper. So it's funny watching the view counts. What do people want? They want some information. They want some entertainment. And then what's interesting when you go to sales is, since this is about financial services, how do you trust the people you're working with?
Right.
Is it just a big corporation? Is it 1-800 number I call and nobody's there? No, these are real people with real personalities, and they actually like that. It builds the trust, and you can actually, when one of the things I've learned when I was networking is you can spend all this time coming up with the perfect elevator speech, and you're talking and thinking and what's memorable, and nobody actually wants to hear an amazing elevator speech about 401k plans. It's just, there's zero audience for that. But they do think that a little bit of 401k plan and a lot of bourbon and a couch is hysterical. And I've actually been in networking groups where I've been a part of.
My cousin asked that she'd gone blind.
Well, because of the glasses, but some people like that. It's funny, but you get reactions.
Right.
But what's funny is I've been in networking events where somebody next to me, I'll say what I do, and then she says, yeah, I've watched your videos. They're really good.
Yeah.
And to be in a networking thing where somebody actually says, I know who you are and I've seen this.
Yeah.
And no, but you can't get that kind of testimonial about 401k plans. And part of it is
exactly.
If we do our job right on your 401k plan, there's no problem. So what is there to talk about? Right.
So
we do a great job. That's why you don't sweat it.
Right.
So you asked about the two different formats. So the idea of the YouTubes, okay, is more smaller bite size. Okay, like truffles maybe.
Got it.
Okay, a little bit of helpful knowledge. We try to keep them to 7-8 minutes ish, or some of the reaction videos, depending on how much I'm telling him to stop the video because I'm screaming. Okay, can go a little long. But Zach kept telling us that what was doing really well was the long format podcast, and I haven't listened to an audiobook. Well, maybe 2 since I started listening to podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. Of course, we're doing this as a video format.
Yeah. And
then she liked the 401 couple, that she came up with that one.
Yeah, that was nice.
And we're like, okay, so and we've got our own Instagram. Okay.
Yeah.
We're like, so the 401 couple is supposed to be the identity, different shirts. Okay. The identity for the podcast in a longer format where we're going to have guests. We're not going to really have a guest for the weekly YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we've got micros, shorts, and now podcasts.
Yeah, which is perfect because you need a mix of content, right? Because some people just want the quick in and the quick out, and others, it's like, let me sit, let me listen while I'm in the car, or while I'm working out, or while I'm on the train. And if you're engaging and entertaining, then you've got them hooked. So,
one of the things that really struck me to another networking event where we were meeting, so there is that second generation coming up. So we do a lot of work with advisors. So the advisor he was there and his daughter was with, and I talk about the videos, and she says, well, do you do podcasts? And I go, well, we've thought about it. And then she says, yeah, I listen to these podcasts all the time, and I listen regularly. And you just kind of go, if we're going to get the next generation, it's not going to be because, the first generation said they're great. The second generation is going to judge us by what we're doing. And so if they feel like they know us, we're understandable, Hunter's approachable.
Right.
Like, once again, I can't explain in an elevator speech all the things to talk to me about. But if you listen to my podcast, you know what we're concerned about.
Right.
Well, and it helps with, I don't know if we're going to go into this now, but it helps with future hires.
Absolutely.
It's you want to work here, you need to watch a couple of our podcasts to find out what the bosses are like.
You don't have to actually say that. You find out have they done it.
Have they done it? Yeah, and they have, right?
Yeah.
They have. You find that they have, right?
And then some potential hires, and then it does really help with because it's amazing there are some of our competitors out there you can't find.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of they don't have a very big digital footprint, and these days the size of the digital footprint really helps, believe it or not, I think, add to their credibility. So.
No, absolutely. I mean, I have clients still who come up to me and like, please tell me I don't have to do social media. And I'm like, okay. Or they come up to me and they're like, yeah, exactly. Or they come up to me and they're like, I really hate video. I don't want to do video. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but considering that over 80% of people make their purchase decisions after watching a video, and that's the medium of choice for not even young people anymore, all ages, is to find their information on YouTube. If you don't have a video out there, you're not being considered at all as an option. So my point to that person is, I hope you have a great word of mouth network.
Yeah. And the thing that surprised me seriously about even every decision-making process has emotion in it. which absolutely floored me. How do you get emotional about a 401k plan? I'm sorry, this is when the Vulcan takes over. The numbers should work.
Right.
But no, you still have to somehow, somewhere in the communication process, you have to get some emotion in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with service businesses, which is why I love clients that are service businesses, because it's all about the people.
Right.
It's about who's delivering the service, because that's who people want to work with, right? So you need to make sure that everyone in your company is a brand ambassador and knows what the brand is and how you're supposed to deliver. But you also need to showcase the expertise and or personality of the people, because ultimately at the end of the day, buyers buy from people they like. Right. So if I'm looking for someone in TPA, firm and industry, someone to help me with my 401k plan. Oh, well, there's these guys, which, it looks slick and corporate. They're saying the same thing that everybody else has been told to say by compliance.
Right.
Or, wow, these guys look fun. So if I have to talk to them a couple times a year, I'd rather talk to the fun people. Right.
So, yeah, we don't. We are in compliance, but we don't follow compliance for the videos.
But since we have our own business, we can actually talk on camera. But a lot of the big businesses actually can't
Nope.
because they're too scared about somebody going off the ranch.
Right.
And so, so what I would actually say is this is a strategic advantage for a certain size of business that the really big companies can't do the same way. They try, they spend a lot of money, they're very cautious. It takes them a long time. So some of this is going, this size business, you can move the needle by doing this.
Right.
In ways that you can't in other ways. I can't spend as much on Super Bowl ads as Fidelity. I just can't.
You can't.
I can't.
Right.
I know.
You absolutely will not be able to do that. Right.
Yeah.
You know, and what it takes to get somebody from one of our large vendor partners to be allowed to be a guest on our podcast, it takes a lot. We have to have a lot of pre-meetings.
Sure.
You know,
I would assume, yeah.
and have them get sign off. So, and you just, well, I know we're technically a guest on your podcast, but we didn't have to go to owner. Well, I guess we did go to ownership. Yep, we're going to do it.
But ownership can make the decisions. So.
Right.
I do want to add one thing. When you ask about is the social media about the tippers or hunter benefits and what the next group is like. What's funny about our business is the people who do really well at it. Actually don't want to be on camera.
Oh, no.
Like if you have the people that we hire, like they kind of sweat the personal side of it. They're very numbers oriented people.
Sure.
And they do have great personalities, but most of our staff would nearly die if we asked them to do this.
Yeah,
so the idea of having somebody on and interacting with them on it, to them that looks like I'm gonna die.
You're out of their comfort zone.
We've had people tell us, oh no, you need to have every single employee needs to have a little video saying something on your website. Are you insane?
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah.
They're really scared, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
It's just, but we've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, but
I don't
exactly.
want to use the S word, but it's just not, I guess, I'm
The S word?
scared.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, because
you're so cute.
Because in case they watch this, we're trying to be respectful of their comfort
feelings.
zone,
Exactly.
their feelings, what their skill set is, and being loud and boisterous is not necessarily known for being, really diligent with the compliance work.
Right, and they can actually still characterize, or they can represent the company very well with your values and your characteristics on the phone or in front of customers or things like that. But you don't have to force them to go in front of the video. And obviously that's something too that I tell a lot of my clients where we're talking about, let's humanize the company and show your employees. But man, if someone says no, honor that.
But so what I was thinking about, and I don't know if you're going to want to cut this out or not, but so what I was thinking about was we've got access to a couple of AI-powered software programs where we can make avatars for everybody. Okay, so also one of the things, one of the COVID lemonades is that we've got people all over the place.
Yeah.
I am not going to fly a professional headshotter or whatever you call them.
Right.
Okay.
Photographer. Yes.
Oh, photographer, not headshot.
They're still photographers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
over the place to get the same
That's
photo.
called
The same
an
Oh,
same
that's an
look and
assassin.
feel.
We're not going to
Yeah.
send an assassin all over the place
Yeah,
either.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You know what I mean? To get the
There are
same
people
look.
with cameras and
Right.
other
Yes,
settings.
but you don't get the same look.
Right.
But with
That just
with
means
the with the graphics software, we can make an avatar, so it's not them, but it is them. It has the same look, but it still has a level of
But
anonymity.
we haven't done that yet.
We haven't done that yet. It's
That's
an
what we're
idea
thinking
that
about.
I'd
That
you're
like to
playing
start
around
off.
with, yeah.
I'd like to start off with on the sales and implementation side first and see how that goes.
Yeah, see how it goes. Test
As
it.
an idea,
Mhm.
you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what were some of the challenges? You talked a lot about, I don't want anyone to see the videos we did way, way, way at the beginning kind of thing. But what were some of the challenges, or actually, what are some of the lessons learned that you would share with someone who's thinking, a small business owner who's saying, maybe I could do a show.
Shut up and do it.
Well, one,
Yeah.
you can always edit,
Okay.
right?
Is that
You
it?
know, we're
You're not
not
doing it live.
we're not doing a live show. If you want to do a live show later, do video first, live later. But as long as you have somebody who can edit it, you can try a whole bunch of
No. You can edit it.
Yeah.
Okay. There are so many tools available. They're not that expensive. Okay. And now, I mean, even with what you can edit on the latest smartphones, holy crap! I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when our son was when our son was in elementary school and junior high, I was doing the football videos, and what you had to pay for the video equipment and the software to, it just was all very cumbersome and extra. And now with what comes in, a nominal Adobe subscription, tools are no longer the excuse.
Right.
Okay. I don't have time. Yeah, you do. But I'm sorry. I hope you're not going to tell people to do it. Don't do the driving videos, where you're telling people how to buy mutual funds. Okay.
Right.
Bite me.
Right.
All right. And learn. But there is one thing that I did not know how important this was going to be in my 7th decade.
Okay.
Thumbnails.
Ooh, yeah. Thumbnails.
No, not these.
Right.
Thumbnails. So my sister makes a living off of social media. Well, makes a living off of social media.
All right.
Okay. And she called up one day. She says, "Oh my God, I just love your thumbnails. Zach is just knocking your thumbnails out of the park." What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
And
our most viewed short has me looking like this. I mean, there's a couple where it's
Right.
my expression kind of going,
Right.
So it's funny what thumbnails do.
Yeah.
What I'd also say lesson learned was, we did it ourselves for a while. We did our own stuff and what it means to finally get some people helping you. And one, it's easier to do it more regularly. And what's interesting is, once again, you think it's supposed to be so formal, but it is actually quite useful to have the people you're filming asking you questions.
Oh, yeah.
And their perspective. And so, yes, the person we hired when they were 20 years old to help us with videos, he's a great person to have questions of, I don't know anything about 401k plans. What are you saying and what does that mean? And it's like allowing that perspective to come in instead of being the experts. It's like, we're going to listen and do things. And we have talks with Filippo about IRAs sometimes, because he has a background. And this should be a discussion. It shouldn't just be
we are lucky enough to have somebody else in the room usually, and we can bounce off his facial expressions. Okay, I understand not everybody's going to have that.
Right.
But think about what you want to watch. Think about what you wouldn't watch, and just keep doing it.
Yep.
There is no way March 18th of 2020 that we would have thought we'd be sitting here with a custom neon sign, 3 chairs, multiple cameras, and everything else. It just wasn't a thought process. And just do it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. I'm not saying don't be afraid.
No,
but it's okay to be afraid. You just keep trying stuff until you find your voice.
Right. Exactly.
And some of this is just, you have to do a little so that you can figure out what the next bit is.
Right. You got to pay attention to what changes because, there was not a demand. Supposedly the demand for the long format podcast is a lot more now than it was then.
Yes.
And originally podcasts were audio only.
Yep.
Now I listen to podcasts, but apparently a lot of people watch the podcast. I mean,
Right.
we've had a lot of views on our first one, right?
Mhm. Yeah. You got to be flexible
You
gonna
got to
lose,
steal
you go.
from steal from Nike. Just
do it. Just do it.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And it's one of the, I mean, I'm a perfectionist. Everyone wants to, I'm like, ooh, and I'm in branding. So I have to make sure this is good.
Yeah.
But after a while, you're like, you know what? I just need to get it out there. Because if you're not getting it out there, then no one knows who you are.
Right.
And no one even hears your story.
But keep the camera still.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of other stuff, but this herky-jerky stuff,
that.
no.
Yeah.
It's camera still and lighting.
Yes.
Okay. Beyond
Yes.
that, everything else,
Everything falls into place.
Yeah.
So now how, because you're running a business, how do you build consistency in where you've earmarked time to get these shows produced?
That's up to Zach.
We have somebody who it's his job to keep
Okay.
us going.
Okay.
And it's every week he schedules it. We have meetings ahead to talk about the topic. And then he will take these long videos and sometimes break up little parts into subtopics. So his goal is always to have some stuff in the bank
Yep.
that he can keep putting it out every week. And then he definitely has a schedule. Something's going to go on LinkedIn every week. And LinkedIn works out really well if he posts it, then I comment within an hour, or I post it and he comments. And so we're doing kind of a reposting and talking to each other a little bit in LinkedIn.
Yep.
But some of it is we've made the commitment of hiring people who keep us on task.
Yep.
So there's that. Be aware of the changes in what's going on. It's I don't think I've probably come up with 5% of the ideas for the videos. He knows where to go and look and figure out what the research is as to what we're supposed to be doing. I would have never ever thought of doing the reaction videos, and he won't tell us about them beforehand.
Wants our
So
He wants me to see, but I got some idea as to
reaction.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We've ended up with 2 types of reaction videos, and he can really find the button, and he knows how to find the video to just
That's great.
no,
great.
it's not.
Well, yes,
apparently it's great content.
It's great content.
But I'm very
It's emotionally draining.
I'm
but
very tired afterwards, and I need therapy.
I can imagine.
So,
I can imagine. So, all right. So the $1 million question for you is: you've hired people, you've invested in cameras and studios and setting up and the time and all that. What benefit have you seen from doing this content?
We have gotten some clients.
We've gotten some clients from it. We've got clients from it. We have an awful lot of name recognition. We've gotten some amazing shout outs from other people because of our because of what we've got out there. It's a long play. I look at it once upon a time, you used to be able to just once in your lifetime, literally hang up your shingle outside your business. If you were a pretzel maker, it looked like a pretzel. If you were a pig butcher, it looked like half a pig, right?
Right.
It was one and done, all right? In order to have the equivalent of that out there now, you need to keep putting digital content out there.
Right.
So this is not a short play. This is a long play. This is something that we have to keep doing. I have to, it sounds like it's forced, but we enjoy doing this. We have figured out, I think, how to talk to each other about the business a little bit more about this. We figured out some things about this, about the business. And one of the next things we want to try to figure out how to do, we did in 2021, we tried to do remotes. It was really difficult, trying to do them outside and a bunch of other things, and it was kind of okay. One of the things we would like to travel more and do our regular podcasts, but from different locations.
Yeah.
Zach commented, content is about trust gen, not lead gen.
Thank you. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Nice job, Zach.
Yeah. And I've not been, and the thing is, that's what we were going for without using those words. That was what I was wanting from it. So it's nice to get the leads. I think there's some tertiary lead generation from it, but it can't be the primary purpose.
But I would say one of the hardest buying decisions in financial products is trust. And part of it is old school trust was you went to the client's office or they came to your wood paneled office and they could tell by what it looks like, and you looked rich and you knew what you were doing, and that built the trust that I can give you my money. You live close, I know who you are, and you look successful. And COVID just changed that.
Right.
And so you not only people just don't want you to come to their office so much. They just don't even want to spend the time.
Right.
We don't have that many meetings anymore. So we needed to...
In person.
In
we have
person.
lots of
Yeah,
meetings.
right.
Well, but not in person.
So some of that is in a business where you can't say, well, Hunter, it's a beautiful design. It's a nice horse, but we don't have a product that we can put in front of you and go, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build the trust to go, I can trust you with my money. I can see that you actually think about things, and so then I can do that. So I think there's something very specific about the industry that we're in to build trust. We need to do this.
Yeah.
And for me also then, it used to be networking where the fancy question people would always ask you is, how do you make yourself distinct within the market? And why are you a better TPA than other TPAs? Which I always thought was the crappiest question ever.
Bourbon.
Because,
Right.
yeah,
Bourbon.
bourbon.
Now it's
Yes.
bourbon.
Here we go, bourbon.
Bourbon. Because you know what? TPAs doing good jobs sometimes look a lot alike because you're trying to get the right product there. We're different on how we solve problems, maybe, but once again, clients don't want to actually buy off of problems.
Mm-hmm.
They want to buy off of you being successful.
The result.
The result. So it's weird, the
Right.
magic mix of what it takes people to decide video actually helps that more
Right.
than showing up to their office in a suit with a bunch of papers and they don't really even want to talk about 401k plans. They just want to know, can you do it?
Right.
And so talking
yeah.
more and more about 401k plans doesn't get them over the bridge. So.
Yeah. No, that's very smart of you because, again, building trust is what branding is all about, and it's all about creating a relationship. And in this digital world, if you cannot be face-to-face with someone, how do you build that relationship, right? Well, they want to see you, they want to hear you, they want to get to know you. And with everybody having access to information online, they pretty much have made up their mind whether they like you or not until right before that final call of, hey, tell me more, right? So if you don't have information out there and if you haven't built that trust to get them to the point where they're actually going to take the time to call you, again, you're not considered. So it's it's very savvy that you've realized that and have committed to that.
This is more, I mean, I don't know if Zach's got quick access to the data, but our view count is much higher than the lifetime About Us count on the website. This is the About Us page, for the website.
Yep. Mm-hmm. No, I wholeheartedly agree. I
just thought of that.
And
Perfect. Get a T-shirt made or something.
I know.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I think we workshopped the name 401 Couple during a video, didn't we? Or did you have it all lined up? Or
I
don't
knew what I
remember.
was doing. I was just convincing you over time.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
When you ask, what are these ideas? Oh, I knew about these. I
Yes.
knew about this. I knew about that. I was
Right.
just getting you guys to all agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, dear.
Now, this has been fabulous, and I really
Well, we
appreciate.
got 3 more hours. Are we
have
done?
3 more hours. Okay, so but I appreciate the insight. Yeah, there's long form and then there's long form, right? So we're gonna stick with around the
We're
30-minute
going for
mark.
Liz, aren't we? No?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah, Dune 3.
Yeah.
So, but I was just gonna say, number one, again. That's the whole reason I was so excited to come out and talk with you. Is I love how you're just shaking it up and standing out in this industry by being your authentic selves, because that really is what builds trust and the relationship. So I applaud you for all of that. And there's reciprocal, or like you were talking about earlier, there's peripheral benefits like hiring the right people, attracting the right people who are like, hey, I want to work there. That looks kind of fun. And it looks a little different, and I want to be a part of that story. So all of that is fantastic. I'm going to throw a curveball at you right now. I'm going to ask you, because I love to honor small businesses that are doing a great job with their branding. Is there a company, an organization, or even a brand of bourbon that you think just does a fantastic job at branding?
There's small, but small.
Small, mid-size, let's say.
Okay, sorry, because they immediately go to Ferrari, which drives me nuts with their branding.
Okay.
It's just, the passion, it's something you
small.
can touch, but the small, I understand that. So, okay, well, it's the wrong, okay. the we think it's a small company. At least they're branding themselves as a small company, and it's the bottle of bourbon that's on camera now for the YouTube series. It's this. They have QR codes on the bottles of bourbon for videos you can go and watch. Each different type of bourbon, because there's like a rye, there's a toasted rye, there's just a cask strength bourbon. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by different types of bourbon.
Yep.
And each different type is a very different theme and tells a different story with what's going on the label. Okay. And why did we buy the bourbon? Because of the freaking label.
Right.
Okay.
And the story attached to it.
And the story attached to it. Yeah. Right. The story that was on the, so to continue with the bourbon, that is one. Unfortunately, I don't know the name, but it's
on our videos.
It's on our videos.
Okay.
And then in terms of something that I can actually remember the name, that's a really good curveball to have a small company whose branding I can think of. I was thinking of Brew Point Coffee. With what she does, it's a smaller. She's 3, 4, 5 locations or something like that.
In
Elmhurst. Somebody we actually knew. She used to be a high school student working behind the counter of the local Starbucks that we used to go to all the time.
Yeah.
And now she's got her own company. She's got a Brew Point Coffee. She's got a very specific look. She has people helping her with her branding. Her stores she's a very specific type of roast. Her stores have a very specific feel. And she's really trying to create a very comfortable type of atmosphere. In her locations.
Love it.
And that's definitely on the smaller side.
Okay.
Brew Point Coffee in Elmhurst.
Love it. Yeah. Well, we will put a link to them on the site. So awesome.
More info in the notes.
Yes. All right. So thank you so much for letting me come into the studio and drink bourbon with you and talk about branding. That's what makes me happy and gives me joy. So to kind of wrap this up here, if someone wants to talk to you about helping with their 401k plan, or they just want to watch you on video or podcast, where can they find you?
Okay, so forgive me for a little bus driving over Catherine. Catherine used to be telling people, call us at sales@hunterbenefits.com. I'm like, okay, dear, that's not a phone number. Yeah. All right, but it was memorable. So,
love you
yes,
too, babe.
hey, babe.
Love you too.
Yeah, yeah. So, what the YouTube channel is at Hunter Benefits, one word, and then the email address is sales@hunterbenefits.com.
Excellent.
And we're in LinkedIn.
We're in LinkedIn. Our videos all over LinkedIn.
Catherine Tipper, Christopher Tipper, Hunter Benefits, Facebook. We're in a lot of places.
You're in a lot of places. Excellent.
Easy to find.
Perfect. All right. We'll go find them. Find them now, right?
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Turbo Branding Show. I hope we have inspired you to ignite your growth and build your brand. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could help me build the brand of the show and either like it, share it, or comment on it. And if you know someone who would be a great guest for the show, I would love to hear that as well. So just shoot me an email or leave comments underneath this episode. But thank you, and stay tuned for our next episode.